It's Monday, June 26th, 2023, and this is episode 286 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Mike, how you doing these days?
Doing all right. Hanging in there. Getting better.
All right. Your legs are getting a little better?
Yeah, I can walk with a limp, but I'm getting around.
All right. Any casino action since our last show?
No, going soon, though.
Okay, very good. To Diamond Joe Worth, I assume.
Yep, definitely.
Okay. Well, good luck. Let's go ahead and get the show started. We got a tweet from friend of the show, Jack Mullaney, talking about a new video poker variant called Fortune X. It's kind of interesting. He thought it might make for a good topic on the show. So here's how it works. Fortune X machines are 3-line, 5-line, or 10-line video poker machines. And if you just play 1 to 5 coins, just plays like regular video poker, you choose bonus poker or whatever any of the options are, and just plays regular. But if you put in 10 coins, then you're playing Fortune X. And here's how that works. Randomly, about 1 every 10 hands, when you're dealt your first 5 cards, a little logo will come up that says 2X. So it's before you've made your draw. What that means is if you tap on the 2X, that means that for whatever winnings you get after your draw will be multiplied by 2. Pretty straightforward.
Okay. Well, why wouldn't you do that?
Because if you decline, you don't pick it, then the next hand will be 3X.
Okay.
Right. And if you decline that, the next hand will be 5X, then 8X, and finally 12X. 12X is the highest. And if you get to that point, it automatically selects it for you, and you'll have 12X. Right. So the strategy becomes, okay, what is a good enough drawing hand that I have? Or maybe it's already dealt to you. Maybe you're dealt 3 of a kind, right? And of course, you'll take the multiplier at that point. Yeah. But, as you get higher and higher, what is a good point to actually take this option? People are starting to come up with basic strategies for it and, when you should do it and when not. But it does kind of sound like a fun variant, right? You have this choice. What Jack kind of said, it's kind of like deal or no deal, but for your video poker multipliers, right? Do you take the deal now or do you wait? And, as you can imagine, most times you're not going to take the 2X unless you've already been dealt a great hand, right? You're dealt a flush or, something, the full house, you already have it. Right. Usually you're going to wait for the higher multipliers. And then maybe when you get up to 5 or 8X, if you're dealt a pair of kings, you're going to take it because you're going to get paid off and maybe the hand will even get better.
Right.
Yeah. So there you go. Fortune X. It's currently at Yamava, up north from where we are. The San Manuel tribe owns that casino and maybe spreading around. So it's the kind of thing that's actually pretty straightforward and pretty simple, but it might be easier to understand if you watch some videos. Just do a search for Fortune X video poker, pull up something on YouTube and, you'll be able to see what's happening. But straightforward and kind of fun maybe.
So have you looked at the basic strategy or?
No, I haven't looked at the basic strategy. I know when I was watching one of the videos, the guy who was playing had a card that would tell him when to take certain offers.
Yeah, it just seems like, if you're dealt like, let's say a pair of jacks, well, you got a winner there, you're going to get paid double of what you normally do.
Yeah, but keep in mind also that you're putting in twice as much. You're putting in 10 coins, right?
Right.
So, no, I think even a guaranteed winner on 2X is not a reason to take it. Again, unless it's one of the big hands, unless you're dealt like a full house or something like that. I think you really do wait, and hopefully you're dealt somewhere on that journey up to 12X, you're dealt a pair of jacks or better, so that you're able to take it at those higher payouts.
Boy, it just seems to me just intuitively that there's a lot of variables to consider, Gosh, it seems like it'd be complicated.
I guess for me, I'm thinking the only complication would be when to take the deal or not. And, you can use a cheat sheet for that.
So you put 10 coins in.
Yeah.
And you get a pair of jacks. If you, say, take the 2X, What would you get paid?
I think you're just getting your money back, right? Because again, you're getting twice as much, but that pays, 1 for 1. So yeah, you're just going to get your money back. Now, keep in mind now also it's only on 3-line, 5-line, and 10-line machines. So you're guaranteed to get paid on each of the lines, but you may improve.
Okay. What about, so let's say you don't take the 2X.
Right.
What do you get paid then on 10 coins?
I think just 5 coins. Yeah.
Oh, just the 5 coins?
I believe so,
So you lose the other 5?
Yes. But on the next hand, it's 3X. Don't quote me on this because I haven't played the game. It was just watching some videos. Right. So I think what I'm saying is correct. But again, don't quote me. All
right. Well, we're going to have to go to San Manuel and check that out.
That sounds good. When are you going to come out here so that we can drive all the way up to San Manuel?
Well, my brother goes there like twice a week, so I could probably just have him play.
He doesn't really play video poker, though, does he?
No, but he knows how.
Okay, all right.
He likes slots, so I'm going to tell him to go play a few hands of that and see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, next time I'm out there, maybe, I don't know, Thanksgiving time.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Is that, do you have any plans to come out?
Well, we don't have any plans made right now.
Right.
When my daughter goes back to school in September, maybe, or maybe at Thanksgiving. So, yeah, I'll be there at some point.
Okay. All right. Very good. And of course, we'll let everybody know when you're coming
and then we'll drive all the way to Yelp. Well, if you live in LA, it's close.
We talked about it. It wasn't worth it for us after COVID because they got rid of craps. So, why are we going to make that long drive? Just to play other casino games? I mean, it's a nice place and they seem to treat their customers pretty well, but it's not like a place we can consistently go to. So
no, even if they had a craps table and I was living in San Diego, why would we drive up there when Paris is way closer?
Yep. Yeah. All right. But thanks for letting us know about that game, Jack.
Jack is in the World Series of Poker, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think we're going to hear some results from him on The Better Life. I think he's going to be a guest. So, yeah, hopefully he's doing well there. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Jack gave me sound advice once that to this day I think of constantly.
Now, what's that?
I don't have to get my bets up to a high by pressing. I can just start by making a large bet.
Oh, so you don't have to press your 4 up to $5,000. They'll let you actually make a $5,000 4 bet right away. Ah.
Yeah. I just thought of that like 2 days ago, Mark.
It is sound advice. It's
sound advice.
Reading between the lines there, the advice really is don't ever press your 4 up to $5,000. That's your money. Put it in your pocket.
Right. That's the best line ever. I laugh about it all the time. It's the best line I've ever heard.
We got an email from listener Ken. I'll just read it here. I was wondering if you would talk a little on your show about pot odds in poker. I've wanted to learn to play poker, but when I've tried to read poker how-to books, my eyes start to glaze over when I come to the section on pot odds. What I'm wondering is, how involved do you actually get with the math when you're at the table? Are you analyzing each hand in depth? Something like ace times the square root of the jack carry the queen? Or is it more like a quick look at the chip pile and thinking, yeah, that seems about right? I can barely remember place bet payouts in craps, so I'm not sure I'd be able to keep up with the numbers involved in poker. Would really like to hear how this plays out in real life. Okay, so before we actually answer that question, let's talk about pot odds. What are pot odds in poker? Well, let's use an example. Let's say after the turn, you've got a draw to the ace-high flush. So you know that if your flush card comes, say you've got 4 hearts already, if another heart comes that doesn't pair the board, you're going to have the absolute nuts, ace-high flush, and you're going to win the pot. What are your chances of hitting that flush? That's a little more than 4 to 1. Okay, so it's a little harder than 4 to 1 to make your flush. So if you're getting at least 5 to 1 on your money to make the call, you're getting the right pot odds. So if your opponent makes a $10 bet into a $40 pot, that means there's now $50 in the pot. If you make the call, you have to bet $10 to win $50. Well, that's 5 to 1. So it's worth the call. But let's say your opponent made a pot-sized bet, say $40 into a $40 pot. Well, you'd only be getting 2-1 on your money, so it's not worth the call. And remember, no matter how much money you've already contributed to the pot, that doesn't matter. That's not your money anymore. That's the pot's money. So when you're calculating pot odds, you don't take into account what you've already put into the pot. Okay, that can seem a little complicated. And really, professional players, they can spit out these numbers very quickly. The pot odds, that kind of a thing. Mike and I aren't professional poker players. So no, we're not thinking that quickly. We don't have all the numbers exactly. So to answer your question, Ken, yeah, we're more sort of looking at the pot. Hey, is that worth it? Is there enough in there? What's my draw? What's my chance of winning? What cards are my outs? That kind of thing. But no, we're not thinking as accurately as a professional player would be. So there are plenty of times, say in our home game, we'll just be looking and I'm thinking, oh gosh, I've got a gut shot straight draw. Oh, there's no money in the pot. It's not worth it. And I fold, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, that's just more intuitive. After you've played cards a lot,
right?
You kind of got a sense of what you need to make your hand that possibly could win and what's out there. Is it worth the risk?
Yeah.
That's more of an intuitive thing. But yeah, if you're a pro, you're watching the pot, you know how much is in there and your chances of the draw. So
yeah,
you're waiting for good pot odds.
So hopefully our example kind of helped you a little bit in understanding the pot odds. But yeah, to get to your real question there, no, we're not running these super complicated mathematical equations in our head to figure it out. It's more about, okay, what do I need to win this pot? And of course, poker is more than just pot odds. It's a lot about your opponent, how wet is the board. But anyway,
there's a lot more going on than just that because it's also the size of your stack.
Oh, yeah. Is it a tournament or is it a cash game? That's a lot of it too, right? In some cases, you might not be getting the right pot odds, but if you've got less than the big blind left in your stack, it's probably worth a call. So
it's probably worth trying. Yeah.
Anyway, good luck, Ken. Poker is a lot of fun. And boy, there's a lot you can say about it, a lot you can analyze about it.
It's to really be a really good pro. There's a lot of boxes to check there of things you have to be good at.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to be good at reading people. You have to be good at math. You have to be good at strategy and position. I think your position in the game is very important.
Oh, especially a game like Texas Hold'em, yeah. And you need a lot of experience. That's the other thing, too.
Yeah, and that's another thing. And the best way to get that is just start playing.
Yeah.
I don't know if online playing's the best, to be honest, I think.
Well, it's two different things. I don't know that...
People play differently online.
Playing online will help you be a better online player. Playing in person will help you be a better in-person player.
But if you want to practice for tournaments or something, say live tournaments, and you've got to get out there and play.
The nice thing, though, about online is you can run through a lot of hands very quickly.
Right.
So, you can get some experience there as far as the mechanics of the game and how people play. But yeah, you need to get out there in person too if you're going to play in-person tournaments. So.
Well, for me, the nice thing about online is, Mark, I can sit in my house in my underwear, play poker hand after poker hand, not ever even leave the bedroom. So that's, for me, it's just fun to kill time.
Yeah. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's get on to our voicemails. First up is Dan.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. Long-time listener, first-time caller, calling from PA. My name is Dan. We are on an extended RV trip, and it wasn't a gambling trip, but if there's a casino within an hour or two, you know where I'll be. We ironically stayed in Biloxi for 2 months, so I won't beat a dead horse there. But for any RVers, we stayed at Cajun Park, and I would absolutely recommend quick drive to the casinos. They have a shuttle. It's right across the street from beach and restaurants and a nice quiet park for very reasonable. So 10 out of 10. I don't know if anybody mentioned this, and I'm sure it's common across some casinos across the country, but one thing I found out the hard way was you need to be in the Beau Rivage to use the MGM Sports app. It took me about 3 hours of multiple computers and phone and Wi-Fi to figure that out. So just a tip for anybody there. Casinos, I know you guys have talked about them, but I would not pass on the Hard Rock or the Beau Rivage. They were cool. The Treasure Bay is a hard pass, in my opinion, just a little rough. Harris is a pass as well. Much better Harris's in the country than that one. Golden Nugget and IP, they're kind of like a comeback. Sometimes I play them, sometimes I don't. Last month, we were in Little Rock. The casino out there is Oaklawn that I visited. It's about an hour away from Little Rock. It was outside of Hot Springs. One cool thing before I get to the craft session, in Hot Springs, there's a gambling museum. Has some old-time slot machines, roulette tables, stuff like that. Unfortunately, it was closed the day I was there, but it looked really neat from pictures and something I want to check out in the future. Back to Oaklawn, very nice casino, $10 minimum on the craps table. I ended up about 3xing the buy-in, so that was a good session for me. The guy next to me, he was on fire. He had 3 hard 10s during his roll and about 5 or 6 9s, and he was pressing them up, so very nice to see that happen. Another roll on the come out. So the shooter shot it, and it hit a larger guy's belly, I guess you would say, and it rolled like in slow motion down his belly onto the table on the come out, and it rolled a 7. And they paid it. So that was interesting to see. I'm sure if it was a different roll with more action, it might have been different, but not sure if you have seen anything like that. Wanted to get your thoughts if it hits a player and kind of rolls pretty obviously down and then hits the table. So I don't know. Just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. Right now, we are in Cahokia, Illinois. It might be Cahokia. I have not figured out how to say it. It's right outside of St. Louis. If anything funky pops up at the local casinos, I'll be sure to let you know. Just want to thank you for the show. It's awesome. I know you guys put a lot of work into it, and it's really appreciated. And just a bit back, you had an episode where a player witnessed dealers stealing chips. There is no right answer for that. I've gone over that scenario about 1,000 times in my head. I have no idea what I would do. So I'm glad I wasn't in his shoes. Hope to never be. And that is a rough one. But thanks again, guys. Really love the show. Keep it up. Good luck to you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I don't know that we've ever seen a die roll off a big belly down onto the table.
Well, no. You've seen it hit people and be a roll as long as the person doesn't move.
Oh, yeah, that happens all the time. I'm just thinking of a particularly big belly rolling down.
Did it rolls down?
But right, as long as the person doesn't move in a way that changes the trajectory of the dice. If it rolls back onto the table, they'll call it. But if they make some kind of move or push it with your hand.
Roll.
Right.
Yeah. Well, even if you try it, move your body, but if you're perfectly still and it rolls back, it's a roll.
Yep.
Now, rolling all the way down somebody, I don't know if I've seen that, but
right. Takes 5 seconds to get back down.
He's got his eyes down there trying to watch it roll down his belly.
That's right. He's trying to be as motionless as possible.
Right. Me gets stuck on a chunk of food that was on my shirt, kind of teeter there for a second, then roll on down. I'd actually like to see that.
Yeah, me too. Maybe you could help us out there, Dr. Mike.
Yeah, I've got the equipment necessary for that now, Mark.
Well, Dan, thanks for telling us about the history of Hot Springs Gambling Museum. Yeah, I think that's something a lot of people don't know about. And it looks like a nice little museum with some interesting things. I was surprised to hear that he was not able to use the MGM Sports app unless he was inside Beau Rivage. I've heard of things like that before, but I didn't realize that was the case in Mississippi. I wonder if other listeners have had a similar experience or if this was just an anomaly for Dan. Let us know.
And what does it mean by inside?
Actually, inside the property.
So what if you're in the parking garage?
Well, I don't know. There might be some bleed over into other locations. But
I was just wondering if it's like anywhere on there, probably you could stand outside and make your bets, or you have to physically be inside the casino area.
Well, the point is you can't be anywhere in the state and use the app. You have to be, at least inside the property or in very close proximity. So,
yeah. Well, they should have a bunch of those stands where they're linked by a rope. And, you are now entering the MGM betting area.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you are now leaving the MGM betting area.
Right.
All throughout the casino.
Yeah, it's like a Faraday cage. You can't get any transmissions in or out. It's a little roped area, but you can get self-serve drinks.
Right. Oh, that's nice. He was talking about the dealer stealing the chips.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that too. I think the best thing to do is to close your eyes for a second and pretend that nothing ever happened, and then just open your eyes afterwards and forget you ever saw it, pretend nothing ever happened. That's a good thing to do with a lot of our life. You know what I mean?
I know a lot of people live their lives that way, Dr. Mike.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, sometimes it's beneficial, Mark. Sometimes, you're an idiot.
I won't disagree.
But just for peace of mind, for sanity, right?
I understand. Oh, it's a terrible situation. I agree with Dan. I hope I'm never in that situation where I even have to consider it. Yeah.
No, I think the next time I'm at a casino and it goes miserably bad, it's like immediate 7 out of, I'm just going to walk out, close my eyes, and pretend I was never there and just go on with my life.
Oh, good. That's good advice. You scared me for a second because I thought what you were going to say is if it was going really bad, you'd just accuse some dealer of stealing.
Yeah. Well, that too. I think they what is it, railed me? I don't remember making any of those bets. How did all my chips, where are they? Just act confused and stupid. That's another good thing in life. Just act confused and stupid. People just walk away from it.
A lot of people live their lives like that as well. All right. Next call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Paul from the Bay Area again. I was just listening to your most recent episode, and Andrew had a question about chopping at the World Series of Poker and various poker tournaments. The World Series of Poker and Caesars itself has a no chopping policy where they don't allow deals. That's not to say it doesn't happen in the back rooms where people will agree to paying each other out a various amount, but the tournament itself is played down to a winner. However, even if a deal is made between the players, the World Series of Poker will not pay the players out based off of their agreement. They will only pay you out based off of your place that you finished in the tournament. This leads to players having to pay each other back after they get cashed out, which can sometimes be problematic. And there are stories of people not following through with whatever the chopped deal was, or other complications where you have to then write out somebody a 1099 to pay them their difference so that the taxes work out the correct way. So it can get pretty complicated. So especially in the bigger tournaments like that, there aren't a lot of chopping going on, which isn't to say that it doesn't happen in some of the other tournaments. I know some of the larger ones, even the World Poker Tour, as it's traveling around, there will be chops. But every tournament has their own policies. I also wanted to share a story from a recent Vegas trip. I shared this story on the Better Life podcast when Tim was interviewing Scott Stratton about customer service. And I was at Park MGM at the craps table, and another gentleman was complaining about the differences between Strip versus downtown and how downtown had better odds and rules and things like that for the players. And the pit boss actually came over and started a conversation with him, explaining that casinos on the Strip had to have worse odds in order to stay in business. That was his direct quote, that they had to do it. So things like 6 to 5 blackjack payouts, 3, 4, 5 times odds at the craps tables, 000 roulettes, things like that. Those were all just to continue casino operations and to stay in business. That was his, I guess, official pit boss take on that, which I thought was pretty ridiculous, as it makes zero sense. So I wanted to throw that out to you guys and see what your thoughts were. The last thing that I wanted to share, also at Park MGM, I was playing free bet blackjack and had $5 out on the pot of gold, where you get the gold coins based off of splits and double downs. And I got several sevens and was able to split 4 times. So I had 3 extra gold coins out there. So I was really excited when another 7 came out, and was getting very, very happy, ready to split again, when they informed me that I could not split more than the 4 times. That was the same rule as regular blackjack, where you can't split more than 4 times on a card, which I thought was kind of ridiculous, given that the point of the game is to see how many splits and double downs you can get, that they wouldn't let me continue to split cards. So I wanted to get your take on that and see what your thoughts were on those last couple of things. So thank you guys for all that you do. Love your podcast. Listen to it as soon as it's out. Hope you guys are having a great week and everyone's feeling safe, and talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.
Let's talk about the free bet blackjack question that he has, first of all. And I think Paul misspoke. I think what he meant was he split 3 times for a total of 4 hands. It is in the rules, 4 hands maximum on the splits. You can see it there in free bet blackjack. And yeah, that is disappointing because you're trying to split and double down as many times as you can, right? Because the casino will cover all of your splits and double downs if it's a certain double down total. So you don't have to put out extra money. So he's talking about this side bet, pot of gold. If you make this side bet, you get paid if you split and or double down 1 or more times. And the more times you are able to on a single hand, the more money you get paid out. The maximum number of times you can split and or double down is 7. That would be if you split into 4 separate hands, so that's 3 splits, and you were able to double down on all 4 of those hands. That's a total of 7. And in fact, that's the highest payout on the pot of gold is 7. And there are different pay tables. But so how do we feel about it? I don't know. Those are the rules, but that would be disappointing if you got, another pair and you're just not able to split, especially a pair of 7s, which is a terrible hand if you can't split it. So that's just the way it is.
Well, Mark, Paul has to realize they have to do that to stay in business.
Oh my gosh, isn't that ridiculous? The strip, if it's that close to bankruptcy.
If they let you split that next 7, boom, close down immediately. Please exit the casino.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's the reasoning.
And who knows? This pit boss may have been told that by some of his superiors. But it is absolutely ridiculous. Look,
he should have immediately ran to the toilet, the pit boss, because he was full of it, Mark. He was overloaded. They have to do it.
Definitely gambling is not as important to strip casinos as it used to be because a lot of their revenue now is coming from restaurants and clubs and that kind of thing. So it's shifting. And all it is they know they're able to make these bad rules.
Get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason. Money talks.
He's talking like they had a business model. Well, after 5 years, we're going to have to go to 6 to 5 because I don't think we'll be operational if we don't.
No, it's not looking good, guys.
Oh, my God. That is the stupidest thing ever. Of course, what are you getting if you argue with him? He's just going to be like, no, that's what it is.
Oh, thanks for the information. Can I color up, please?
Yeah. I don't want to get my chips dirty when you explode.
Yeah, we got a lot of feedback from listeners about the World Series of Poker and how they will not facilitate deals at the final table. Now, the original question came from listener Andrew. He was asking if there was a tournament level, like a buy-in level, at which tournaments no longer facilitate chops. And the answer is no, because as Paul said, like WPT, they have deals, that they actually show on the air. So it's not a level necessarily, but yes, the World Series of Poker does not facilitate deals, even in their lower buy-in tournaments, $1,000 buy-in tournament. That's just their policy. So again, it's going to depend on the tournament, but it's not a matter of level, although you would think some of the higher levels might be less likely to facilitate deals. So there you go.
Well, I didn't even think about what Paul was saying about the 1099s. Yeah, if you were going to chop.
What it comes down to is, do you trust the person you're making a deal with? Because this is all after the fact. And yeah, you've got to do a lot of back and forth of these 1099. You're getting a W2G for what you actually won. But then, when you're coordinating these deals, well, I didn't actually win that much because, player B, I'm giving him. So yeah, it's more complicated.
Yeah, can you imagine?
I mean, that's the World Series of Poker. And if you're going to make deals at that level, get stuff in writing, maybe talk to a tax attorney. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be so convoluted.
Yeah.
Be crazy.
Yeah. Thanks for all the good info, Paul. All right. Next up is our buddy Kevin.
Hi, guys. Kevin from Wisconsin. After listening to a couple calls of this show and after visiting a few Vegas hotels in the last few months, I have to make Mr. Yuckface for the cocktail service. Service is fine at the local casinos generally, and I'm not a raging alcoholic. I'm not a bad tipper either. It's just gotten progressively worse over the years, especially in Vegas. I would hope that my resort fee would get me at least a watered-down Dr. Mike pineapple juice. When I go through $500 at a quarter slot machine before my bottle of beer arrives, I get pretty hacked off. I know I'd probably gamble it anyway, and I fully understand that if you give a big tip up front, you're more likely to get better service over the time you're in the casino. My wife and I were at Mandalay Bay a couple weeks ago. It's a Thursday evening, so there's a little bit of excitement going on there. I get that. I think I got one delivered drink the time we stayed there, which was overnight. Really? We had free nights over at Rampart for a few days on that same trip. It's off the strip, so it's a different experience and not as tourist-friendly as the other places on strip or downtown. When I did most of my gambling, it was in the morning, which is fine. But nobody's really milling around the casino at that time, aside from some diehard locals or the stray hotel guest or two. So the servers really only had like 5 or 6 people to take care of, and I was lucky to get 1 or 2 drinks tops over a 3-hour gaming session. That's after giving $10 for the first warm bottle of water. I'm not sure I like Logan's idea of having an arrow to signal that the server's coming or has arrived, but there has to be a better way. So here are my thoughts. Assuming the regulation is friendly and allows for it, why not just put a craps pit at the end of the bar, not as a separate standalone table, but rather as an extension of the existing bar structure, or have a mini bar attached right to the table? Or how about just a cooler affixed to the table with a keg in it? A casino employee could stand there and tap beers, walking around the table and handing them out to players. I'd tip the hell out of that guy. Here's an idea for all the table games faithful. Just like they do for outside concerts or sporting events, have a big ice-filled metal tub in the middle of the pit with a drink jockey who hands out chilled beers, seltzers, wines, or other iced refreshments. Maybe a mobile robot, basically wheels on a tray, makes its way through the casino with prepared drinks for people to help themselves. Maybe each robot is specialized with a sign, one for Bloody Marys, one for beer, another for Long Islands or whatever. It could have a tip slot, too, where monies could be shared with bartenders, other servers, and dealers. Vagrants might be a problem, but maybe you insert a player's card or something to unlock the robot cooler. Anyway, take care. Sincerely, still thirsty.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, there's a lot of talk in the community right now about the level of cocktail service in Las Vegas and what it takes to earn a quote-unquote free drink. A lot of people are thinking, oh, man, our complimentary cocktail's going to go away eventually in Las Vegas.
I've got a few things to say, Mark.
All right.
Number one, the casino has to limit the amount of drinks, Mark. Otherwise, they're going out of business.
Oh, yeah. That from the previous call, right?
Yeah,
they're
right.
barely making any money. Okay, good point.
They're barely making any money.
Yeah.
But number two, I always give $5 to the cocktail waitress.
Yeah.
No matter what I get, even a water, I say, give me water, I give them $5.
Yeah.
They give me, a watered down whatever, I give them $5.
Yeah.
I just always do that. But it makes no difference, really, because they don't come any more frequently to me than they do to some guy who, gives them $1 or doesn't tip.
It seems like it's more like that these days.
Yeah,
I tend to
it's more
agree,
like that these days. In the past, if they knew you were giving them a $5, man, they'd be at that table. Do you need another drink? As fast as you could drink it, they'd be there.
Yeah.
I remember way back. But now it seems like nobody cares. It's like, And I recently had an experience where I made mention to the crew and the pit boss that, hey, I've been here an hour. Nobody's come by. Oh, yeah, I know. She's slow. That's what I got.
Yeah.
Not, oh my God, an hour, really? An hour? And it wasn't even busy in there. So,
Well, what do you think of Kevin's ideas? What's your favorite one?
Okay. My favorite one would be the big ice-filled metal tub in the middle of the pit.
Oh yeah, and floor.
That would be good. Just you get a drink and it's like super cold and it's dripping wet. That'd be great for the tables and
Yeah.
the whole atmosphere. People popping open their own bottles.
I kind of like the mobile robots.
I know you would like the mobile robots.
Especially if they were surly, kind of like Bender in Futurama.
Right.
Kind of doesn't like his job, that kind of thing, but still gave you the drinks.
I knew you'd like that.
I know,
I knew you'd like the robots. It'd be, you want a robotic world. I want the world where it's chaos. Just a big tub, and everyone's scouting through it to find the Fresca at the bottom of the barrel, because Fresca is very refreshing.
It's extremely refreshing, yeah.
Yes.
I was trying to think, Mike, recently where I've gotten good cocktail service in Las Vegas, and there were two properties that came to mind. One was TI when we were there for Zorkfest.
Yes.
At least at that craps table, oh my gosh, she was there constantly.
Yeah, she was almost annoying.
Fantastic. The other place, and it sort of surprised me when I came up with this, but it's pretty obvious. Golden Gate. Have you ever noticed they're always right there? And maybe because the Prohibition bar is real close there.
Right. Well, they don't have too far to go.
Right. It's not that big.
Small casino. Yeah.
Those are two places where I've noticed the drink service is pretty good. Can you think of any others?
Yes. Okay. I will tell you that if you want to play early morning craps at either Harrah's or Caesar's Palace.
Okay. Early morning.
There are a couple cocktail waitresses there, and they just circle like vultures waiting to give you a drink.
That's great.
I mean, seriously. I can't remember their names right now, but they've been there for years.
Yeah.
Whether they're still there or not, I don't know, because, haven't been there recently. But they were there when we were in our early 20s and we were playing there. And they were there 2 years ago, as far as I know. Yeah, they are always coming around. It's early in the morning. There's fewer players and stuff, but still, they're coming around pretty regular.
Yeah.
So one of the problems, I believe, is the casinos aren't hiring enough servers. So a server has to do maybe a whole pit of blackjack and craps, and then maybe some slots too,
Yeah, right.
They don't have just one in the slot area and one in this pit and one in that pit. They've just got one person doing a whole bunch.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we're going to be talking about this topic more and more as things progress here. So hopefully things don't get worse.
Yeah. What's eventually going to happen is the casinos that stay in business, that are left in business, they'll be the ones with the bad drink service.
Maybe.
The good drink service ones are going out of business.
Yeah, they're going out of business.
There's just no way they can make it.
Yeah. All right. Next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, long-time listener, first-time caller. This is Jordan from in Florida here. Just on my way up to a guy's golf trip, and then maybe going to swing down by Biloxi and hit the craps table before coming home. Listened to your podcast on the way up there. The guy was talking about the chopping of tables at poker tables at the final table. To my knowledge, that the World Series, they do not facilitate chops. So you can discuss with other players the chop of the table, but if you win $1 million and the other guy wins $500,000, you want to chop it for $750, you have to go up to the cashier and then exchange money afterwards. So I'm going up there in a couple weeks for the main event, so hopefully I get to experience that problem for myself. Thanks for all you guys do. Appreciate it, and have a good one.
Okay, so again, WSOP, no deals. Well, good luck, Jordan. Yeah. Hopefully you're able to cash in some of those tournaments. Wow, great.
And take Dr. Mike's advice. Do not shop. You're too good a player. Just beat them. You're not going to risk some guy owes you $250,000.
Yeah.
That you don't know? Oh no! Just take the money.
I'd prefer to continue to play. I think I'm that good a player. Well, sir, we're not going to facilitate a deal anyway. I've spoken.
I just want to make this clear.
All right. Next up is Travis.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Travis from Birmingham, Alabama. Just calling in with a trip report. I went down to Biloxi, Mississippi, and stayed at the Palace Casino on a Monday through a Wednesday. Had a fantastic time. And in one of your recent episodes, you guys were talking about the demise of blackjack paying 3-2. Well, I have some good news. At the Palace in Biloxi, blackjack tables all still pay 3-2. Also, craps tables have 10 times odds, which is fantastic. And minimums were great all around. I played craps and blackjack and pie gow all for a $10 minimum for 3 days straight. And if you like roulette, like I do, roulette table minimums were just $5. So Had a great time there, broke even on Pai Gow and craps. Got up a little bit playing roulette. I'm predominantly just bet on black and had a streak of those, so was in some good luck there. But my best streak of the trip happened at the blackjack table. We always, my wife and I, bet the side bet, and if you get 3 of a kind, your 2 cards plus the dealer's up card, it pays 90 to 1. And I kid you not, in the span of about 15 minutes, we hit that 4 times. So paid out well. We left the trip in the green, which is always a positive. Love the Palace Casino. It's a smoke-free casino, which I'm a big fan of, and the buffet is out of this world. Plus, the rooms were recently renovated. So this resort gets a 2 thumbs up from me, and another positive report from Biloxi, Mississippi. Big fan of you guys, and can't wait to hear the next episode. Take care.
Yeah, another good review of Palace, and certainly when I played there last year, it was great. Again, just for this Biloxi trip, it was just way too crowded. I mean, there was really no room for even a single player to get on any
packed.
Of the tables we were there.
And that's what I was wondering. If Travis, when he was there, he said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I was just wondering what the crowd was like.
Well, he actually followed up. Yeah, there were plenty of seats. He had no trouble getting a seat anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, because on the weekend when we were there, it was like packed.
Yeah. Boy, $10 minimums, that's one thing. But including Pai Gow poker, that's fantastic. Boy, I don't know the last time I saw a $10 Pai Gow poker table.
Yeah, that's a place for somebody with $100 that wants to be there all night.
Oh, yeah.
You're never getting a drink, though. No way.
No, it's too...
They'd be out of business. No.
Boy, 4 90 to 1 payouts in about 15 minutes. Yeah, think about how many times you're dealt trips in 3-card poker. It seems like never.
Yeah. I assume that's like a 6-deck shoe.
Yeah, I would think so. So it's actually, a little easier to get 3 of a kind than, in 3-card poker. You're right. It's not exactly the same. So, but still, it's hard.
It's still hard. Yeah. That's a good hit too. 90 to 1. I wonder what the limit on that is.
Yeah. Good question.
The max, I bet, is it a $10 or you put 100 on there and hit 4 of them in 15 minutes?
Yeah.
$36,000. You go home. Casino's out of business. Done.
All right. Let's hear from Logan.
Yeah. Hi, this is Logan. You guys had a previous podcast with Uncle Jackie and the Park MGM. And I have to admit, I stayed at the Aria my last 2 days, and I walked over to Park MGM, and he is right. They do dress a lot less sophisticated than they do at the Aria. And the table limit at the Park MGM is $15. Most of the tables at the Aria are $50 minimums, and as Uncle Jackie would say, most of the clientele there, they dress very high-end. So it kind of does make you feel uncomfortable because you just want to have fun. These guys are here to break the bank of the casino if possible. But Uncle Jackie is onto something. It changes the environment. You feel more comfortable amongst other gamblers because these guys are just throwing away thousands of dollars a hand, and you're only betting $100, $200. So it's interesting what he picked up on. Thank you.
Yeah, we continue to say, if you're worried about not being sophisticated enough for your environment, try Park MGM.
Yeah, Mark, you and I, we're the kind of guys that for us, sophistication is wearing cargo shorts with more pockets than regular shorts.
Yeah, it's sophisticated because you can carry so much in those pockets.
You can carry so much. Yeah, that's dressing up for me. Occasionally at a funeral or a wedding, wearing a tie or something. I have so many T-shirts. Oh my God. I get in trouble from my wife because I don't throw them away.
Yeah.
And I have got just literally thousands of T-shirts.
You need to make a spreadsheet, Mike, of all the T-shirts and then make a rotation so that you're continuing. Right. You're not wearing the same ones over and over again.
I have more of this in 3 years. You know what I need is I need a robotic maid.
Like on the Jetsons?
Like on the Jetsons or maybe even Lost in Space, where he becomes my butler. Dr. Mike, danger, danger. That T-shirt was worn last week.
Oh, the pain.
Yeah, the pain.
All right, showing our age here. Let's get to our last call.
Hey guys, it's Nathan from Sacramento, calling you from a cruise ship out in the Pacific. I just wanted to give you a quick update. I went to the craps table one day and the stick man was running over the dealer with the dice, shoving the dice out before I could even make my bets, and I asked him to stop, and he just ignored me, and the dealer seemed kind of young, and she said, "Oh, no, that's fine, it's fine, it's fine." Well, he kept doing it, and I kept asking him to stop, so I couldn't even get my bets in, so I just quit. About 4 days later, I decided to try it again, and I waited forever for my chips to come when I bought in. I'm not sure what was the holdup. Well, the whole other side of the table did a pretty much a 0.7 out thing, and that's how long it took for me to get my chips. But the whole other side of the table had about 5 or 6 shooters. So when I finally got them, it was my turn to shoot, and they said, "Oh, we have to skip you because you didn't bet the last roll." I said, "Well, how could I bet? I took forever to get my chips." Well, they said, "That's the rule. If every one of these people gives permission, then you can roll." I said, I don't need this. I said, "Cash me back out." So I quit and never played anymore. I mean, I frequent Vegas, maybe once a month, so I wasn't hard up to play on a cruise, but just wanted your thoughts. I've been playing for 30 years and I've never encountered that rule before, where you have to bet the roll before it's your turn to shoot. If I'm wrong, well, then I apologize. I just never have come across that. So just wondering your thoughts. It's been a great trip otherwise. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Nathan. Yeah, actually, that is a rule. If you didn't have action,
most places,
if you didn't have action on the previous shooter, you cannot be the next one to roll. So, yeah, maybe you've just never come across that with as long as you've played. But, yeah, that is pretty standard.
Yeah, but there are some places that don't abide by that.
Or sometimes the stick just won't even realize it.
But, the long wait and the stick sending the dice so fast, you can't even make a bet.
Those are bad situations. Most casinos, when there's a buy-in, they will stop the action. I did notice in Biloxi, a lot of places we went, when you bought in, they would start to move the dice. So there were times, Mike, when you and I would wait for a come-out roll. It wouldn't be a new shooter. It would just be, the guy just made his point, and we're thinking, okay, we're going to buy in. And we throw our money down, and they're starting to count it, but then they send the dice. It kind of surprised me. But obviously that was what was happening here on this cruise ship. And why would it take that?
They got to keep the dice moving, Mark, because they are losing so much money at 3-2 blackjack.
Yeah.
That if they don't keep the dice moving, they're out of business.
This impatient stick, right? Yeah. They want a fast game, and I'm sure that's what he's saying. It's got to be a fast game. Well, if you don't let people make the bets, that's undermining the whole fast game thing, right? It's fast, but the people aren't risking money. So that's too bad.
Sounds like he had a rough cruise there.
Yeah, well, at least as far as the craps table, and he did say everything else was great, so that's good. Yep. yeah, and it's not. And like he said, he goes to Vegas, so it's not like that was the reason he was going on a cruise.
Right. Yeah. Well, if that's why you were going, then you're probably better off going to Vegas.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations: Nathan, Brian Dancer, the boys over at the Crap Vegas podcast, Josh, and Brian and Sarah. Thank you very much for those recurring donations. We also got a donation from listener Richard, a karma donation for a trip on the 21st of June for 4 weeks. Wow. Oh, mainly for the WSOP. But God help me with 4 weeks on the strip. Thanks for the great entertainment. Richard from London. Oh, well, fantastic. Have a great trip and good luck at the World Series.
He survives the strip for 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Can you imagine, Mike? You in 4 weeks? I mean, 3 days weeks. And we're spinning.
Yeah. I'm pretty exhausted by then. I can't imagine 4 weeks. You'd have to live your life like a real person.
Yeah, really.
Right? Go to a park and just sit on the swing, close your eyes, pretend you're back in London.
Also, a donation from Nicholas heading to Biloxi this weekend. Thanks for all the content and for taking the time to reply to your fans. That kindness does not go unnoticed. Oh, well, thank you very much,
Thank
Nicholas.
you.
Appreciate it. And finally, a donation from Michael. Karma donation for upcoming trip to Vegas. Well, good luck to you, Michael.
Take a Mike. Put one of those casinos out of business.
Please. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings and our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonthat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonthat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. Mike.
Well, Mark, I think I just won't even wait. I was going to go later this week or this weekend to gamble, but I might have to go today because they might not be in business much longer.
Oh, they're having that trouble too at Diamond Joe. Oh gosh, yeah.
Well, they're giving away drinks and they're having, 3-2 blackjack. You can't stay in business like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
All right. Well, good luck to you, Dr. Mike.
I'm going to get a kick out of that all week.
Yeah.
That's the reason they went to 6-5.
Strip casinos, they're hurting.
To do with trying to make as much money as possible. Well, Mark, I was talking to somebody the other day, and he was lamenting how he couldn't do as much sports betting as he liked this time of year. What a bad time of the year is because there's only baseball.
Baseball's basically it, yeah. Maybe golf every once in a while, tennis, but
car racing. There's a few smaller venues, but he was lamenting and he was telling me, nobody likes to bet on baseball. It's terrible. And I mean, really, sports bettors like football, college, and they like pro, and same thing with basketball, right? They love college basketball and pro basketball.
There are definitely some sports bettors who like betting baseball and take it seriously, but you're right. I think kind of in general, they stay away from it. Maybe there's so many variables or it's so heavily dependent on a pitcher, but
Well, the guy I was talking to that lives around here, he was saying exactly that. It's complicated and you've really got to follow a lot more, and things happened. Like you're betting on the starting pitcher, but for whatever reason, it comes down to the battle at the end of the closers. And, he's just saying there was just so much going on that you had to keep track that he couldn't get a good lock on anything like he can with football or basketball or hockey. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know. We've done okay with baseball this year.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are some tough calls. Like maybe you're looking at the over-under and you're thinking, gosh, should I go over? Should I go under? A lot of people prefer over. And then, a final score is 25-1. And everything's
25-1.
It was like 23-0 in the fifth inning.
I just glanced at my phone. Oh, that must be a miss. It must be 5-1. No, 25-1. Oh, God. But I think baseball maybe does require a little more thought than some of the other sports.
Well, it's maybe just a different thought process than some of the other sports.
Right. A different thought process. This guy that lives here in particular, he likes going to casino, but he likes basically just sports betting. And he was saying that he does a lot of parlays.
Oh, yeah. It's very popular.
And I think if you're doing parlays, for small amounts of money, you'll make like a $5 parlay on like 5 teams or something, right. So it pays big money when it hits. But, getting 5 out of 5 is kind of rough.
It's tough when you're going against a spread or a money line or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things can happen. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting because, he was bored. It was just baseball. And for me, I kind of love, watching all the baseball games. Sure. I like that they play every day. And,
you and I love baseball probably above all else.
Right. So, and the days that the Padres are off, like tomorrow, they're off. it's kind of nice to have the other teams to watch.
Well,
There's
it
always
messes
something
with
to
me.
watch.
When the Padres are off, it's like, there's something wrong about the day.
You're right. Yeah, I don't sleep well either. And I don't want to mention the Padres.
Don't mention it. We'll mention them later. All right. Well, good luck to everybody out there, and thanks for listening.
Yep. Thank you.
El Cajon? That's the anus of San Diego.